Hello friends, and welcome to another belated video from my series Quick Thoughts On, in which I always talk about different stories from the rich Star Trek universe. 30 years and a couple of weeks ago, the next episode of Star Trek The Next Generation was premiered, called When the Bough Breaks, and these are my honest opinions about it. There are a few kisses of death to each film or TV show episode, and one of them are child actors. There are two reasons for it. Most writers don't know how to write children, and most children can't act. It's really rare to see a child deliver a good performance, and it's incredibly rare to see a child deliver a great performance. This episode has both of the problems. It features many children, and just one of them is a decent actor, or two, if you count Will Wheaton to the category of children, and they don't behave like children at all. The boy I was talking about behaves like a small adult in some of the scenes, and as a 5-year-old in other scenes, and the worst thing of all, this episode is unintentionally creepy. At least I hope it's unintentional. But I leave it to you to decide for yourself. This episode starts with the very first problem, with a young boy named Harry running through the corridors of the Enterprise and literally running into Riker. Only when I was running through the episode frame by frame, I noticed that the boy desperately tried to not end with his mouth anywhere close to Riker's crotch. Kind of funny. Riker helps him to stand up, and we are told the first problem: Harry ran away because he doesn't want to learn calculus. He looks like he should be something like 11 or maybe 12 years old. Why is he running away from his home? He's old enough to understand that running away from home because he doesn't want to go to school makes no sense and solves none of his problems. Running away like that seems to me more like a reaction of a 40-year-old who doesn't want to eat his veggies. Shouldn't Harry pretend that he's ill and he didn't want to go to school? Or shouldn't he do something like locking himself in his room and listening to a 24th century equivalent of Nirvana? The children in this episode react very strange. It's almost like the writer didn't know anything about children, just vaguely remembered she used to be one. When Riker limps to the bridge, he is told that the Enterprise was following a strange energy reading, which finally stopped. Suddenly a planet uncloaks in front of them. They have found the legendary planet called Aldea, and are greeted by a young woman called Rashella, who wants to talk with them. When Picard agrees, she teleports herself and their leader, an old man called, I think, Redu, played by Deep Throat from The X-Files Season 1. They have problems with the amount of light on the ship because their eyes became very sensitive. They beam back together with Riker, Troy and Dr. Crusher, and we finally get to know what they want. Back on the Enterprise, a yellow beam examines all of the kids on the Enterprise, and on the planet we are told why. All of the Aldeans are infertile. Rashella was the last child born on the planet, so their great plan is to take some children of the Enterprise and pay their parents with information about what they will want. Of course, our heroes refuse to sell their children, so they are sent back, and some children are simply kidnapped from the Enterprise. Wesley, Harry, some other boy, and a bunch of young girls. So altogether 7 kids. Or technically 1 teenager, 1 preteen, and 5 children. Their kidnappers tell them that they should simply accept their fate and learn to enjoy their new life. Okay. Let's pause this for a minute and let's talk about the Aldeans' plan. Does the plan make any sense to any of you? The Aldeans can't have their own children, so they kidnap 7 children to continue their civilization. How does it work? They need new genetical materials, so will all of the old men have sex with the young girls, and all of the old women have sex with the young boys until some new children will be born? They can't simply want their genetic material because they would simply ask for it, and there is a pretty big chance that at least somebody on the Enterprise would give it to them. Or are the 7 children supposed to repopulate the whole planet? Should Wesley and the other two boys screw the young girls? If so, wouldn't it be more logical to kidnap a bunch of healthy teenagers? Or maybe they could open their borders to some immigrants from other civilizations? I'm sorry, but not only I don't understand their plan, and the more I think about it, the more disgusted I am, and the performances of the child actors can get pretty creepy too. Back on the Enterprise, they try to find a diplomatic solution to this situation, because this is a Picard show. Also, together with the parents of these kids, and the kids on the planet are getting assigned to their new units. But there is a problem. Rochella doesn't want to give the youngest girl to the planned unit, which is something like a family, but she wants to keep her for herself. Not only I find this very creepy, I mean she behaves like the girl is a puppy or something like a new toy, but this is the most interesting part of the story. And the worst thing is where this plot point is going, because the plot point goes nowhere. The other kids are going to the new units. The artist girl goes to a musician who looks like a stereotypical pedo. Harry goes to an artist unit where will he become a sculptor. And Wesley goes to the leaders, who look like they could be his grandparents and not his parents. Weird, but okay. His new mother gives him access to the main computer, but he is surprised to find out that they have absolutely no clue how it operates. It simply works for millennia, which means it definitely doesn't run on Windows. Deep Throat asks Picard and Beverly to come down to the planet to negotiate for some reparations. Beverly uses this opportunity to talk to Wesley, gives him a small tricorder, and he scans his new mother for her. Radio sends the two of them back to the Enterprise and uses their high tech to throw the Enterprise away from the planet as a small demonstration of their capabilities, so they now will have 3 days to get back there. Meanwhile, the music girl tries some new music. Harry creates a wooden dolphin, and I must admit that I feel weird looking how the adults are behaving to the kids. Especially Harry looks like, "Don't touch me, mother ducker." By the way, why does the dolphin look so phallic? And why does Rochella hold the little girl like she wants to breastfeed her? Or is it just me having a dirty mind again? Wesley tries to first talk some sense into his kidnappers, but with no effect. So he creeps into the young musician girl's room and touches her in the middle of the night, and there is absolutely nothing wrong with it. He visits all of the children at night and they start a strike. They will refuse to eat until they will be released, because this is how children think, right? Gandhi is the first person who comes to every child's mind. Wesley explains the plan to the women, and then he kisses the little girl who is sitting on his lap. And again, there is nothing wrong or nothing weird about it. The Enterprise is back to the planet. They found some small gaps in the cloak and secretly beam Riker and Data to the computer room, where Mr. Data manages to turn it off. Dr. Crusher, thanks to the data Wesley collected for her, found out that they suffer from a radiation disease, so when she and Picard beam back down, they also try to talk some sense into them, but Deep Throat asks Picard to talk to the kids because he can't handle them. So, wait, what? They kidnapped children, and they have no clue how to deal with children? Come on, you said that these people are smart. So Picard goes to the kids and takes them with him to the main room. Deep Throat is angry even when Rochella tries to talk sense into him, because Dr. Crusher claims that if the kids stay there they will also get the radiation sickness, but he doesn't want to listen. He soon realizes that their computer was turned off, so the Enterprise crew can beam the kids back and the OA team goes to the secret room. There, they find the main planet generator, and because the Enterprise crew are the good guys, Picard offers to help him, even though they are criminals who kidnapped their children. And Harry has a serious talk with his dad about, you guessed it, calculus. and the little girl gives Picard her fluffy toy, and I must admit the ending made me laugh. Patrick Stewart's cold performance is really perfect for the ending. The ending feels like an ending to a random original series episode, which is in this case a good thing. This was the first episode in The Next Generation in which we actually explored the idea of having families on board of the new starship. We have always been told that there are whole families, including children, but before this episode we haven't actually dealt with the fact. But I'm not really sure if this is the correct way how to handle it. This episode was written by Hannah Louise Shearer, who wrote for basically every important TV show in the 1980s. I tried to Google if she ever had any children of her own, but I wasn't successful. But I feel I can say that even if she had any children, she probably didn't really understand them. Only Wesley behaves like a teenage boy would behave in this type of situation. Everybody else seems to be a little off. In some scenes they behave like little adults, in other like complete babies, in others they behave like robots. The plan of the villains makes absolutely no sense in my personal opinion. How do they want to keep the population alive by bringing their 7 new children? And I usually try not to go into any racial territories, but why were all the children white? I don't want to sound like a stereotypical social justice warrior who finds everything offensive, but we have seen that the Enterprise crew consists of people of all racial and ethnical groups, and even aliens, and at least one robot. So why does this episode look like only white children are worth kidnapping? I mean, I'm white, or mostly white if you want, and I find it offensive. But that's not my biggest problem with this episode, oh no. The major one is the lack of logic in their plan, and the second one is the hopefully unintentional creepiness of some of the shots, which include the adults touching the children in a slightly strange way, or a teenager touching the children in a slightly strange way. No, I don't really think that anybody related to the show had any bad intentions. I just think that the episode has a kind of a weird vibe during some of the scenes. And no, I'm not judging an 80s show based on 2018 standards. I felt exactly the same way when I've seen this for the first time, sometimes during the 1990s, as a teenager myself. Anyway, I checked some reviews online, and I must admit that I enjoyed this episode much more than other people. On my standard scale from 0 to 10, where 0 is complete garbage, 10 is a masterpiece, and 5 is average, I think this episode is just average. So a rating of 5 out of 10 would be, in my opinion, absolutely appropriate. But as always, those were just my opinions. You can tell me what you think about this episode down in the comment section. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that thumbs up button, and if you have some free time, feel free to check any of the other videos on my channel. You should see links to some playlists on screen right now, and I'll be back with more videos very soon, so hopefully see you soon. Thank you very much for watching, and bye.